I didn't know I would be like sitting with a VR headset and ketamine. So Mind by Design is a private female-run mental health practice. Really, our main goal is just to make mental health care accessible for it to not ever box anybody in.
Hey, it's your host, Michael Dargie. I interview a lot of people on the show, but since 2006, my creative agency has been helping artists, entrepreneurs, and businesses like yours find, shape, and share your story so everyone gets it. In April 2025, my first book is being released that goes through the method I use called Branjitsu. No, there's no fighting. It's not that kind of jitsu, but there is a really great and cheesy metaphor. Visit branjitsu.com, join the list for my book, Branjitsu, Move Your Brand from Meh to Memorable. In this episode, Rebecca Sidoti discusses her journey from Catholic school to running Mind by Design, a unique mental health practice in New Jersey. From VR therapy to ketamine treatment to why embracing uncertainty can be life-changing, please welcome Rebecca Sidoti to the RebelRebel Podcast. All right, here we go. Welcome to the RebelRebel. I'm your host, Michael Dargie, and all the way around the world, at least twice, I have Rebecca Sidoti. Rebecca, how the heck are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Michael. I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little chilly. It was rainy and it's cold. It sort of comes and goes.
Yeah.
So there you go. You are, and we're not going to geolocate you, but you're in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Joyzy.
Oh, God. Yeah.
How is life in New Jersey for you?
It's okay. It's humid and gross outside, but I just stay inside when it's like that. But Jerseyans will know, just don't leave. It's crazy, but all good.
Oh, that's good. Well, so let's sort of catch our listeners up here, or our viewers, because we're on YouTube too, which is super fun. Your company, Mind by Design. Tell me a little bit about it. Like, sort of catch us up about what you're about, and then we'll figure out how you got here.
Cool. So Mind by Design is a private female-run mental health practice based in New Jersey. We're fully virtual. We were in person for some time, but wasn't really necessary. So we're not. We do some in-community work, which is cool. Like, we meet with our clients kind of where they're at. And it kind of is just growing as we go. I know everybody's like, you should have a real business plan. And I'm like, why? It doesn't matter. So really our main goal is just to make mental health care accessible to people and for it to not ever box anybody in. So we do all different kinds of therapies, alternative therapies, and good stuff like that.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I want to ask about that, but I have to. Where do I get my hands on a fuck anxiety workbook?
Oh my gosh, can you see that?
Yeah, it's so great. I want one.
We have an Etsy shop as well. That was just because we make workbooks for our clients all the time.
I love it.
And so we started putting them together, and that's one of the workbooks.
I love it. I think it's great.
That's our approach. So in a nutshell, we approach mental health with a little intensity there, back a little.
That's cool. So, I know about mental health because I have my own challenges, of course, but what are the different modalities that you use? You said you do some alternative stuff. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so we have like traditional talk therapy where we do, CBT and things like that. But for myself, like, I work with, I would say most of my clients have OCD or phobias. And so we had to find like an alternative to just talking about the problem. And there are lots of methods. Like, a gold standard of OCD treatment is what's called exposure and response prevention.
Right.
But when the pandemic hit, and I was used to being in person, the pandemic hit, and I was like, oh boy, we have to like figure out how to keep doing this. And that's when we came across some VR exposure therapy, which was so cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's
Really
odd. It is the coolest thing ever, and I actually just had a client email me yesterday morning who I was seeing for exposure therapy and VR exposure, and she hadn't been on a flight in 18 years, and she took a flight from New Jersey, a 14-hour flight. I won't say I don't wanna give, like, too much info,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she took a 14-hour flight. She was,
Wow.
like, ecstatic beyond belief. It's such a we only worked together for 2 months. So it's like it's a really effective treatment. Yeah, it's crazy.
I love wow, man, I
Yeah.
love VR. Like, um, yeah, it's incredible how far it's come. So, and it seems like so quickly. So I could totally see that being, because then you can face your fear, and
Yeah.
then if you have too much, you take it off.
Yes.
Right? Is that what we're talking about?
That is exactly it, yes.
Oh,
And
love
you
it.
can manipulate that environment. So it is a gradual, slow exposure while you're
Oh,
being coached by your therapist to calm your body down so you're not having that same response. It's so cool. And we then
wow.
see on the screen, I see what my clients see, but I see their heart rate. I see heat maps of if their eyes are getting stuck on like a certain space where
No
they're
way.
clearly like either not processing anymore because they're kind of shut down or they're just hyper focused with that anxiety. So it just opened up so many more tools to like make therapy just not so painfully long. Grueling for people. Um,
Oh, wow. It doesn't sound like a good business model, though.
it's not. It's been a problem that maybe a business plan is a good idea, I guess
Yeah.
sometimes, but yeah, the longevity, I'm like, "Oh,
That's
you need
great, though,
more people."
because what and I mean, but if you're there to serve others and to help people, then it's great. It's exactly what it should be. So wow, congratulations. That's really cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's really cool, and it feels really good when I think as therapists, like, it takes a long time sometimes to see progress, and
Yeah.
we really wanna help our clients. And so when I do VR, I'm like, "Oh, yes, I'm gonna have such an ego boost really soon. Let's go, let's do it."
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's cool, and we really try to tailor. Do you hear my cat?
Yeah, it's great. I love
Okay,
cats.
I'm sorry. She, like,
No,
really wants to come in the office, but she's very
no, it's
distracted.
it's all good. We're very pet friendly.
Oh, okay. Um, so yeah, so the VR is one of the alternative options, and then we also have, ketamine therapy.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we just for the last, 2 almost 2 years, I'd say we've been training in ketamine therapy, and the last year or so, we have really, executed it and are
Wow.
actively providing
A-
that.
and I mean, is that I know nothing about that. Is that like microdosing? Is that I mean, it's legal, illegal, gray area?
It's
What's this?
legal. It's legal. Totally legal.
Yeah.
Um, Ketamine is a dissociative, so it's different than microdosing,
Okay.
um, and it's different than a lot of other psychedelics. So, like, we think of, like, psychedelic and somebody's just, like, kinda tripping and
Yeah.
really just disoriented and kinda
Yeah.
having a good time, um, where the way ketamine works is it's a dissociative, so for people who are dealing with PTSD, um, treatment-resistant depression, things like that, it it allows them to kind of step back and almost be an observer of their emotional experience to then react and intervene almost for
Interesting.
themselves.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So it begs the question: how did you get into this? Like, what have you always been this way? Like when you were just a young child, where you're like, this is what I'm going to do with my life.
I didn't know I would be, like, sitting with a VR headset and ketamine, you know, for
Oh,
my
that's
business.
fair.
Um, but I think I thought this way for a long time where if something didn't work, I didn't wanna box in and just say, "Well, I accept that this is what it is."
Yeah.
Um, and so it kind of isn't more natural, like with maybe it's adaptive, of like, okay, the pandemic hit, we needed VR.
Right.
And like, so sometimes it's just, I won't like settle. I just don't accept when things are kind of subpar.
Okay. And where does this come from, Rebecca? Like, take me back, you know.
For sure. So there's one like standout experience where it was like the curtain has now been pulled back, and fitting into molds is just not gonna work. And I think we had briefly discussed, that I went to Catholic school my whole life, and we were always told to sit like a lady. And it really like it didn't bother me. I didn't think much of it because we always had dresses or
Yeah.
like, our jumpers for
Uh-huh.
Catholic school. And so I just thought, oh, it's because I'm wearing a dress, like, sit and don't show your underwear. And then when I got to high school, we finally were allowed to wear pants,
Yeah.
which that alone, when I think of it, I'm like, I wasn't allowed to wear pants. I lived part of my life not being allowed to wear pants. That's so crazy.
It's weird. Yeah.
It is weird. And so we were allowed to wear pants, and then I wore pants, and a teacher told me to sit like a lady in the pants. And it was like, oh, wait, this wasn't about like protecting me or not showing my underwear as a little one.
Yeah.
It was just arbitrary bullshit that you were telling me, and I never questioned. I just said, "Oh, okay,
Wow.
that's it." And I I don't know if I recognized it then, but it just
Yeah.
like stuck really strongly out of like, there's no reason for this other than somebody else's wants and desires for me.
Yeah. Control, I guess, is the
Mhm. Yeah.
wow.
So,
It and I'm gonna go on a ledge here. That's your tattoo, is that right?
yeah. So that's this one is sit like a lady, and she's not sitting like a lady. Dress.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's well. I mean, it's awful, but I love that you take control of that.
Yeah.
That wow. So is that? I mean, it sounds very formative, and is that what sort of brought you to what you do now? Like, how does that sort of how does that progression work?
I think so. I mean, it, it definitely, I mean, I was a teenager, so it definitely just set fire to the already
Yeah.
probably pretty dangerous, like, kick, like pushing back on everything side.
Yeah.
Um, and so even I wasn't really involved with like any mental health things early on. I was in therapy and I didn't particularly like it very much.
Yeah.
But it did kind of give me a lens of like advocacy and knowing what aligns with me, and then that kind of grows into equality, and then it grows into like acceptance and all of these things, and it just kind of happened. And then I think, just the social policy part
Hmm.
was just ingrained there, probably. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Weird how it happens. That teacher
Yeah.
has no idea.
Right. You didn't call them out on it? Mm.
No, I think I was just like confused, and
Yeah.
it just shifted something in my brain of like,
Wow.
that's not okay. He has no
Yeah.
idea. And he was
Wild.
an asshole anyway, but he did one good thing, which is just be misogynistic, and gave me kind of
It-
my go ahead, my green light.
Your green light.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
What does a day look like for you these days? Like, we're out of the pandemic. Woo. Um, you know, w- what does New Jersey day look like for Rebecca?
Um, well, so being virtual, I see all my clients from my home office, which is
Yeah.
cool. My cat is always in the background making noise.
Yeah.
Um, I see my clients Monday through Friday, usually. I break up my more traditional clients with talk therapy, and I give a lot more time to the ketamine therapy and the VR since it just takes longer.
Yeah.
But day to day, it's a lot of, just seeing my clients, overseeing some of the interns and employees. And then we do a lot of like community work. We do some like advocacy work for women's rights, LGBTQ, women of color, stuff like
It's awesome.
that.
How do you take care of yourself?
Hmm. Well, I have my fuck anxiety workbook.
Uh-huh.
um, I when I'm intentional and I know I need to take care of myself, I will kind of I'll focus more in on art and creativity. Do a lot of painting,
Oh, good.
pottery, stuff like that. Yeah, and then
Awesome.
but I'm really even at when I'm working, I feel like there's a bit of self care in that because I chose this
Right.
when I had some options, and so every day I'm like, the self-care was the choice to not go for the job that was sucking the life out of me. And so
Right.
doing what I'm doing, it doesn't require additional like coping with
Oh,
stress,
nice.
you know. Does that make
That's really
sense?
cool.
Might have said that weird.
No, I think that makes total sense. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really neat to, you know, it's a way to recognize that, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And
Mhm,
that in itself is healing.
mhm.
That's really cool. I love that. Huh. Um, w- what do you do just for Rebecca? Like, what's a guilty pleasure where you're like, oh, I just love doing this. It's just for me. It fills your bucket, whatever that bucket happens to be.
What do I do just for me? It's so weird. I feel like everything I do is for me.
Cool.
Isn't that isn't that funny? Like, I don't do anything not that sounds really selfish, but I can't really I won't do things that I don't wanna do.
Awesome.
I do paperwork, I don't wanna do that, right? I do
Yeah,
things I
sure.
don't want, but for the most part, when I'm doing things, it's because I want to do those things. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
nice.
guilty pleasures is like McDonald's french fries,
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh my
rewatching The Office and just really living the sedentary lifestyle sometimes and just staying on the couch. That's like a guilt that's definitely self-serving to the
Yeah,
max.
yeah. Watching The Office while eating McDonald's fries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
Sounds
that's awesome.
like that's self-care, you know?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Especially when they're fresh. Like, there's nothing quite like fresh McDonald's fries.
Yeah, they
And I
have
know
to.
they're bad for me, but oh my god.
So good.
Um, this is so cool. Wh- What advice would you have, I guess, to people that are starting their own thing, or maybe they're not quite sure? Are you familiar with the term ikigai?
Mhm.
Like, how do you find that, or how do you embrace that? What's your take on that?
So there are there are real like steps to find your purpose, your direction, your why. There's like actual like concrete ways to really measure that and look for how to make that exist in your life.
Yeah,
But before even doing that, our headspace has to be comfortable with we don't know shit. We don't need to know it all. And the confidence to say, like, I'm not going to know it. And when I fall and screw things up, that's fine too, but that
yeah,
fear around like, if I don't succeed, then what? And it's like, then you just keep going. That's another like alleviating thing of like, failure is only when we accept it.
right.
Doesn't exist if we keep going. So just
Huh.
go, just try it out, just do that. You know?
Winston Churchill once said, "When going through hell, keep going."
Exactly. Absolutely. That's exactly right. And we block ourselves well before we even get to see how much we can do because
Yeah.
our head's not even letting us see it in through that lens. And so, and I was there for a while. I was in, we are all there.
Yeah.
Um, I think that there's motivation from either just being sick and tired of what's going on, being bored, right? Like, but like lean into that
Yeah.
discomfort and ride it out, see what happens. You know,
Do you have a pottery wheel?
I do.
I'm fixated on this because we just watched a show called what was it, like the Great Canadian Pottery Show or something like that. It's got Seth Rogen is the one of the hosts.
Oh, yes, I've seen clips of this, and he's just
Yeah,
smoking and making pottery, and I'm like,
yeah.
so if there's one thing to, like, just level up, just know it's that, you know? You get there, good.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's awesome. Yeah, and we had this. So my partner Jen and I, we were like watching this show, and we're just enthralled by it. And I'm just like, oh man, I want to do this. I want to have like
do it.
because you just get clay and you just get right. Like,
Yes,
why am I not doing this?
I don't know.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite thing to pot?
I like working on the wheel the most. I've made a couple, like, tea kettles, and they're
Cool.
so cute that it's just I really like it.
Yeah.
It's got a few different, like, skills that you need to use, so it's a little bit of hand building, but, like, the main, pot itself, you have to throw that, the lid, um,
Right.
so I really find throwing on the wheel to be super relaxing, and it's spinning,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen any research on this, and I'm like, there's something sensory-wise very therapeutic about your hands stabilized in one place
Yeah.
and your eyes almost like that being, like, hypnotized,
Oh,
right? And, like,
interesting.
there's so much of this research on, like, EMDR and eye movement and trauma, and I'm like, "It's the pottery wheel." We don't have to even,
Ah.
like, do any science. Just get a pottery wheel and do that. Try it.
And do you have your own kiln?
I don't have my own kiln.
Okay.
I've been in the market for years, but I just am in my own way because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to, like, ventilate here or,
Right. Yeah.
plug in and outlets. I'm sure it's, like, not really rocket science, but, we have locally, there are a few places that you can just fire your stuff.
Oh, nice. So you can
Yeah.
just bring your stuff in and
Mhm.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because you just leave it to dry somewhere, and
Yeah, I
then
have, like, drying racks, like, in my basement downstairs, like, where my workspace is, and then once
cool.
it's hard enough, I just put it off.
That's great. And do you glaze it? Like I'm so into this.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Yes. No, it's not it's such a under-recognized art form, and I think people think it's harder to access,
Yeah.
but again, it's like, you can go on Amazon and buy a wheel for, like, $60
What?
and clay, and then just call, like, a local place, and they will charge you, like, $50 to use their stuff for a month or whatever. And it's like, yeah,
Okay, this is happening.
yeah. Or classes, like I say this to my clients, my friends, myself, like in our communities, there are so many resources that we just don't recognize.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know how it's structured where you are, but in New Jersey, every township has their rec centers and things like
Yeah, for
that.
sure.
It's pottery wheels everywhere, huge kilns.
Huh. All right. Well, I'm in. I think he just lit the fuse for me.
The kiln is hot.
The kiln is hot. Oh, that's awesome. That is
Yeah.
so cool. Um, I don't know a whole lot about New Jersey. What I do know, I've read from Janet Ivanovich writes books, um, like mystery novels. So I know there's the Berg. Um, it,
What was it?
Janet Ivanovich, like the Berg is kind of like the community that her character sort of lives
Oh.
in. Anyway, why am I saying this? Because I imagine that there's this really cool place that you probably go for walks. I don't know where that is, but I'm going to say maybe it's near the river, maybe it's in the forest. I don't know, but there's in my mind, it's green and it's lovely, and you have a sense of peace when you go there. Let's just say that Rebecca's walking through this area and she's sitting there thinking to herself, oh, I just wish the world knew this one thing. What is the one thing that you wish the world knew?
That if everybody knew one thing, that would, I think, really maybe change how they see their future, would be that uncertainty isn't a threat. We don't have to react to it
Yeah,
like fight or flight. We can look at it and then dive in, and we're okay. We don't have to avoid it.
I love it. Oh, that's so great. What it how did, hmm. Isn't that it is scary though, isn't it? Like uncertainty, like we don't know what's going to happen next, but just sort of diving into the unknown. Which I guess, begs the next question. Are you a walk into the ocean person, or are you a dive into the ocean person?
Hmm. If I'm walking in, I'm like, I should just dive in. I would want to walk in
Yeah.
and understand my surroundings, check for sharks, right? Like make sure we're okay.
Yeah.
But I think I have forced myself to not think that. I have a habit of being more like, if it's not predictable and okay, we just don't do it, no
Yeah.
risk. And the fear is huge for everything. But when I walk in, I still don't know much more than when I started. So I've learned that I'm wasting my time. I stop
Oh,
wasting time.
interesting.
So now I just jump in, even though there's the inner me is like, don't do anything. Just stay still and safe.
To that point, there's in this show I'd like to, and I've asked a lot of you, a lot of advice and a lot of things that you're not getting paid for. So thank you very much. But there's these people, I call them rebels in waiting, and they're, maybe they're about to, embark on a new adventure, or maybe it's a new business, maybe it's a new thing, whatever that happens to be. What advice would you give to them specifically?
Do it scared. Do it uncertain. No guts, no glory, Just go for it.
Yeah, just go for it. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. What are you a reader?
Um, I'm more like listening to audiobooks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
cool. And is it more professional, or is it for fun, or is it a mix of both?
it's kind of a mix of both, because a lot of the stuff I like to read would like kind of also inform some of my practice. So
Sure.
it's kind of like a mixed bag, but I don't do that on purpose. I think it just happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Um, Music wise, what do you listen to?
Um, I listen to a lot of 90s like punk rock,
Yeah.
kind of, grassroots punk rock, dirty, not great, you know, music. That's like my go-to. I
Yeah.
actually just Apple Music was like, we've curated a playlist for you. And I was like, oh, let's see, what we have here. And it was either 90s punk rock, 90s R&B, or metal. Just a lot of like heavy metal and stuff I hadn't heard. And I was like, oh, there are new
Huh.
bands in the world. Oh, I have to hear them.
There's a band, and I can't recall where they're from. They're from the US, and they're a two-person punk band called In the Whale. And I think that you'd love them. If you like sort of dirty punk,
Mhm.
like, oh, and they're so good and they're so great to see live.
In the Whale.
In the Whale. That's my recommendation. Go find them, and they're amazing.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
I'll give them a listen.
So cool. Oh boy. Okay. One last question. Save the big questions for the end. Your go-to meal besides fries.
Oh, okay. My go-to meal. Oh my goodness, that's really hard because I
It's a
like
big one.
appetizers. So, but they're a meal when you make them a meal.
Yeah.
Just eat
Everything's
enough
a meal.
of them.
Right.
So like I really like appetizers like mozzarella sticks and potato skins and fried pickles and all that good stuff. Like go-to meal. But if I'm being an adult, I'll have, a dish. I don't know if you know this dish. It's an Italian dish, chicken piccata.
I don't think I've ever had it.
It's like a lemon chicken with capers. So it's like a little more tangy.
Yeah.
With a little bit of like a really, really light breading. And it's so delicious.
Oh my God.
Really, really good. Easy to make too. I follow this like 80-year-old Italian guy on YouTube that cooks. And he like soothes my soul too, like when I hear him.
Yeah.
But he makes really great, like authentic Italian food. And so chicken piccata is a good one.
Chicken piccata. Mm-hmm. Okay. So my takeaways, there's a lot. First of all, I need to get your fuck anxiety workbook.
I'll send you a copy.
I will go to your Etsy. I'll put links at the bottom. So I think that's super cool. I love this idea of, just letting go of the fear or embracing it and just, come what may approach to things. I think that's really cool. And potterying. I'm going to get a pottery wheel. You've inspired me.
Yeah, go for it.
Gosh, Rebecca, this has been so much fun. Thank you for spending time with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I had a great time. I hope I answered your questions without going off the rails.
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
Good.
Hey, it's me again. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you're an artist, entrepreneur, or business owner who believes your brand can be more than it is, head over to brandjitsu.com and join the list to get your copy of my book, Brand Jitsu, Move Your Brand from Meh to Memorable. I've been your host, Michael Dargie, and this has been the RebelRebel Podcast. It's a podcast for creative rebels and entrepreneurs all over the world. And hey, if you're a rebel or you know a rebel, why don't you head on over to the RebelRebelPodcast.com and fill out our guest request form. Share or subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And thanks so much for listening. Until next time.